one issue that's always been a focus in language teaching is what are the most appropriate methods for teaching a language. And the history of language teaching reflects a preoccupation with methods. We go back 100 years from the grammar translation method, and then fast forward a bit to the audiolingual method, to communicative language teaching, and more recent proposals such as CLIL, content and language integrated learning, or task-based instruction, and so on. So over the years we've seen attempts to develop different ways of approaching the teaching of language, and one of the assumptions behind them, of course, is that every new method is supposed to be better than the ones that went before it. So there's a sort of built-in assumption that methods are getting better and better. Now, methods and approaches, I'll explain the difference between those two in a minute, reflect two things. First of all, assumptions about what language is, and also assumptions about how language is best learned. And as, of course, ideas about what language is and what second language acquisition consists of, as these change, so do two approaches in language teaching methods. Now, a method is really a set of prescriptions or techniques or procedures that reflect a particular view of the nature of language and the nature of language learning, because those views will come across in the type of goals you set, the kind of syllabus that you arrive at, the kind of classroom procedures that you make use of, and so on. So a view of language that sees language as made up of little bits and pieces of grammar will probably lead to techniques that do indeed focus on a learning of grammar, on a grammar syllabus and accuracy-based activities, whereas a view of language that sees language as made up more of a functional, communicational set of meanings will focus on these as the core units of the syllabus, and the activities that are used in the classroom will similarly reflect a more functional focus. So there's a link then between theories of language and learning and the procedures which teachers make use of, and this is really what a method is. So then what is an approach? Well, an approach is a more general statement of assumptions about language learning and teaching, but one which can be realized in many different ways. It doesn't necessarily lead to a specific set of prescriptions, and communicative language teaching would be such an example. It's based on certain assumptions about the nature of language as a communication process, as a process of interaction, but this can lead in several different ways when we try to turn these assumptions into a language teaching course. It could lead to a functional-based syllabus, a task-based syllabus, a content-based approach, and so on. Now, many people feel that the era of methods is past, that we're in a post-methods era where teachers are encouraged not to be constrained by the limitations or assumptions of a particular method, but to draw on their own knowledge and beliefs in developing teaching procedures that reflect their own principles and indeed that reflect the context in which they work. So I think the approach that many teachers adopt today is perhaps one of eclecticism, where they will draw from different methods those techniques that suit their own teaching context, principled eclecticism, or one in which they draw mainly on their own principles and assumptions, knowledge and experience in framing their approach to language teaching. I look forward to discussing these issues with you on the forum.